y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is January 3rd, 2024, and this is episode 53. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. If you have watched my WIP parade, which should have come out just before this, you know I was planning to record this video the day after that, but I just got done editing my WIP parade and I decided, well, what the heck, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. And that way tomorrow, which is Wednesday the 3rd, I can enjoy my last day off work before I have to go back in on Thursday. If you have not watched my WIP parade, my eyes look very red because I unfortunately have had pink eye over the new year, which is a lot better. But that's why if you notice any redness and stuff, it's a lot better now, but that's what it is. Anyway, so this video is going to be a little more like my normal, but not quite, because I'm not going to show you any current progress. All that is in my WIP parade. I am going to show you a couple of verdicts. I'm going to do a little hearsay about the holidays, do a little bit of stashing for retirement, but the bulk of this is going to be about my 2024 plans. So with that, let me jump into it. And with the hearsay, of course, we just got done with the Christmas holiday. For those of you who celebrate, there are some, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, several holidays this time of year. And even if you don't celebrate any of those, because of traditional calendars, you probably at least got a couple days off work, hopefully. I hope, for your sake. And of course, the new year was just a couple days ago, and it is now 2024. The last time I recorded a regular video, I think, was early December. The rest of December was just normal work until Christmas. We did go to my daughter's for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We actually stayed with some close friends that live near my daughter because my son and his family were up from Louisiana, which was great to see them. He is in the Army, and so we don't see them that often. And they were staying with my daughter, which made for a full house. So our friends that live nearby, who fortunately their family all lives in that area, so they didn't have any guests, let us use them as a hotel basically. Excuse me. So we did that. It was good to see everybody. It was a lot. The great thing about being a grandparent is you can give them back when you're done. But also, if you've raised kids and you are now empty nesters, you get around that chaos and the kids again, and it's like, boy, how did I ever have the energy to do this? And I was actually lucky in a way because I jokingly say I married my kids, and they were already shitting and showering by the time I got them. They were in elementary school when I met my husband, and so I never did the constant toddler, just 24/7 on stage. But I do love spending time with them. We're just wiped out by the time we're done. So we got home Christmas Day night. We had a little fun Christmas Eve. No, the 23rd is when we actually drove down to the Charlotte area because we wanted to stop and see my in-laws, and then we wanted to have dinner with our friends we were staying with. Earlier that week, I had thought my car battery might be dying, but then of course when I asked my husband to take a look, it started up just fine. The meter said it was charging just fine. I drove it to and from Raleigh another 2 or 3 days after that. Didn't have a slight problem at all. And then Saturday morning we got in the car to leave after we packed it all up, and it wouldn't start. So we had to get the charger out, charged it up, drove straight to Advance Auto, got a new battery, and got on the way, and we were fine. So so that was our little bit of drama in that respect. And anyway, that's about it for the holidays. It was a good holiday. Nothing unusual other than we did get to see my son and his family, which we had not gotten to spend Christmas with them, I think, since 2019 was the last time we actually got to see them at Christmas. So we have seen them once or twice since then. I can't remember in person, but Anyway, I will move on from hearsay, and I do actually have 2 verdicts. One is a knitting verdict, one is a cross-stitch verdict. Where did I put the knitting verdict? There it is. These are the socks that I have been working on for months. Excuse me. This is just my standard sock recipe, which is toe up on US 0 2 millimeter with Fish Lips Kiss Heel. The yarn is Nomadic Yarns Spark Sock. There's a little bit of, I don't know if I can get the light to hit it or not, but there's a little bit of silver stellina in there. If you look right there, you can maybe kind of see it. The colorway is I Smell Snow. And so those will go into my sock bins. And then I have one cross stitch finish. This is, I didn't bring a board to put behind it. I think I can fold it over. This is Reindeer Games by Erica Michaels. I did this on called for 40 count Weeks Dye Works straw, and with all the called for floss. And I finished this in December. Sorry I didn't iron. It's a bit of time. But anyways, I'm not sure. That will go in the under the bed box. Who knows when I'll actually get it finished into something. We'll see. Maybe by next Christmas I'll have it into something that I can display. I'm losing stuff over here. Dropping things left and right. I'll get that in a minute. I'll need that in a minute. But anyway, so that's it for verdicts. And I think I will go ahead and do stashing for retirement to get some stuff out of the way before we talk about the 2024 plans. I don't have a ton. Well, don't have a ton compared to usual. So I do have a couple more project bags that I'm already using. But I have 2 more that I forgot were in my little bin. They're going to go immediately into use as soon as this video is over. I bought 2 from Carrie Sews For You. There's her tag. She's on Etsy. It's Carrie, K-A-R-I, Sews, S-E-W-S, the number 4, U. And so I got this Halloween bag, and I got this like kind of wintry gnome bag. And those will get projects in them as soon as I'm done, because I need some more project bags. Next up, some random stuff. I got a whole bunch of sequins off Amazon. I think it was Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. I think it was Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. Talked about these on hers because you can, the Satsuma Street patterns, which she sells as kits. I think she also sells the PDFs on her website, and you just would need, you know, the thing that I wouldn't have on hand is sequins. And so, I mean, I think they were like $5 or something. So I went ahead and bought them. Who knows when I get around to it, but I also ordered, this was a pattern in the Black Needle Society like 80s box or something, which I did not get, but I really liked this pattern by Silver Creek Samplers. It says, can recall most 1980s lyrics, but still can't remember the reason I came into this room. That's pretty much right in my wheelhouse. It's called Memory Error. And I ordered this neon floss that was in the box. This was stuff that they had put in their vault, thinking it went with this pattern, but it actually doesn't. The pattern is actually designed all in DMC, although I will probably use some of this floss on this pattern. Cobweb Corner had a sale at some point before Christmas, and so I picked up a couple of things from her. I picked up 2 more of the Nora Corbett Bewitching Pixies that I wanted, Electra and Minerva, and I also got bead packs for those. And I also ordered Plum Street Samplers Toil and Trouble. This is one of her older patterns from 2008, but I've always liked it, so I went ahead and picked that up because I think it was on sale too. Barefoot Needle Arts, I do their quarterly, sorry, I just need to, sorry about the, had a notification come up I needed to swipe off. I do their quarterly bag and fabric. the quarterly bag this time. This is for like the January. Was a really pretty like cardinal fabric. It's already in use and in a pile over here because I just got done doing my whip parade, so I didn't dig it out. And the fabric this time was called Purple Rain. I got the 40 count. It came with a recipe for a cocktail, and I know my camera's not going to show this fabric properly. It looks gray on the camera, but it really is a really it is a grayish purple, but it is definitely got purple. And if you're old enough to actually remember the Prince Purple Rain, even though there was definitely a kind of a purple and gray vibe going on with that. So so that was the first quarter fabric from the Barefoot Needle Arts, and they may have some of both the fabric and or the bags on their website still. I have not looked. I ordered a chart that I've already started that was in my whip parade and from Barefoot Needle Arts, and at the same time I also ordered Percy Penguin by Quaint Rose Needle Arts. Never heard of them, but I just thought that was really cute. I don't know when I'll start it, but it was one of those I just wanted to have. I have joined the Oak Crown Studios fabric of the month, and I got my first fabric for December. And she sent, I feel like there was more information with this. And I don't know what I did with it. There was more information with it because she tells you each time kind of what she was thinking. So I'm getting 32 count Lugana from this because I talked with Amy and she said that they would definitely be very colorful fabrics. And so I'm more inclined to use the really colorful on things like Mirabilias and things that have beads, or things that I'll do on lower count fabric. So this is, I don't know, there's not a name for it, but this was the December fabric. And there was a pattern that I thought she said she had in mind when she designed it, but whatever it wasn't a pattern that I was likely to do. But the other pattern she thought it might work for is Autumn Lane's Autumn Town, and I could maybe see using that for that. So we'll see whenever one of these days, when I get around to doing that pattern, I'll have to do a floss toss and see if I think that'll work. And then all the rest of this is from Stitch New England. Not necessarily all in the same order, but in a variety of orders. Plum Street Samplers, the New World Sampler. This was a pattern that she designed as an exclusive for a retreat a year or so ago. I don't know what retreat it was, but I've been waiting for it to come out, and so as soon as it did, I had to have it. This might be a start in 2024. We'll see. I don't know. I also got Plum Street Samplers Christmas Mini Moon. And I finally caved and bought Plum Street Samplers Live on Little. I think some of these were, Pam was doing the 12 Days of Christmas, and there was a different designer that was on discount each day. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get rid of the glare, but I've got lights in two directions. I'm not very successful. This is one of those patterns that I like, and I keep looking at it going, am I going to do it? It's really huge. I love Plum Street, and I finally just said I just needed to buy it. I don't know when or if I'll ever do it, but I just need to buy it. The new Cottage Garden Samplings series, The Fabulous Houses. Got the first one, Santa's House, from Pam. I'm doing a auto ship from her. And I always get the fancy floss that goes with it. And then I do Atomic Ranch Fabric Club with Pam. In 2023, I got 32 count, and so this was my December fabric. I am switching to 40 count for 2024. The nice thing about the Atomic Ranch Club, I think if you do it through them, but also if you do it with Pam, is they basically show you the colors for the year, except I think this year, in 2023, there were like maybe 2 or 3 months that it was a mystery. In 2024, there's only 1 month that we don't know what color it is. So I was able to look at the colors and go, I think I want those in 40 count, not 32 count. So Soft Fur was the December colorway, and this was one I think that Pam picked, and I love it. I have placed another order with her, and I think that I haven't received yet, and I'm pretty sure I went ahead and ordered this same color in like 40 count. So I think it's a great green for like a Christmas piece or something, but it's not so dark that one you can't see on it. So so that is all of my stashing for retirement, with the exception of a couple of patterns that I've already started and you would have seen in my WIP parade. So next up, let me pick up what I dropped on the floor. Sorry, I'm going to need that. So next up is my 2024 plans, which is the bulk of this video. I am going to, as I talk about particular patterns, I'm just going to insert pictures of what the pattern looks like, not where I am on it. And so that you'll at least have a frame of reference for what I'm talking about, but also so it hopefully won't be too long. So 2024 plans. I am doing WIP Go again. This is I'm a paper planner girl, so this is my WIP Go board in my planner, my Malden Filofax. And I really, if you've watched my WIP parade, you know that I currently have 86 WIPs. That's including my New Year New Start from yesterday. There are only 25 spaces on a WIP Go board. I could have done 3 WIP Go boards and still had patterns left over, but I didn't want to do that because I really didn't. Jessie Marie does that with with multiple WIP Go boards, and somehow that she powers through and does it all. But I didn't quite want to be that structured, particularly because I tend to use my WIP Go to get a good chunk of time on a project. So I am continuing WIP Go this year. All my goals are 10 hours on the project, which for me usually gets, depending on the project, usually gets somewhere around 2,000 stitches. On some of them it might be closer to 2,300, 2,400. On others it might be 1,800, 1,900, just depending on how many color changes, color block, that sort of thing. So I really debated, what projects to put on WIP Go. And what I finally ended up with is I had 23 at the time of what I call BAPs. I use a measuring system that's common through a lot of the groups, where you add the height plus the width divided by 2, and that number gives you, kind of slots them into mini, small, medium, large BAP. BAP is big ass project in my world. Some people are politer and say big awesome project, but and so at the time I had 23 BAPs. 2 of those I already have some other plans for. I think that, yeah, 2 of those I already had other plans for 2024. So that left 21 BAPs. So I put all 21 of those on my board. I added the BAP that I started January 1st, that I knew I was starting January 1st, which got me to 22. And then I added 3 other of my large projects that were older. So I'm trying to focus on, with my WIP Go, my biggest projects and or my oldest projects. So some of the BAPs are not old ones, but anything that's not a BAP is definitely older. So that is what I've got. Real quickly, excuse me, I'm going to run through the projects that are on my WIP Go board. And as I mentioned the name, I'm going to put a picture up. And I'm going to go relatively quickly, but I'm just going to give you pattern name and artist if I can remember it. Lady of the Flag, Mirabilia, and these are in numerical order on my board, is what they are. Let Freedom Ring by Leela Studio. Quarantine Cats, which is Heaven and Earth Designs, based on think the artwork for that is Bridget Ashwood. Minnie the Wool Shop, which is also Heaven and Earth, based on artwork by Lucy Pittaway. Across Winter Lake, which is Gecko Rouge, based on artwork by Joe Grundy. Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, which is Cottage Garden Samplings. Moonlight Sampler by The Blue Flower. Coming to America by With Thy Needle and Thread. Let Love Rain by Teresa Kogut. Minnie the 10th, which is Heaven and Earth Designs, based on artwork by Mandy Manzano. Pandemic by Long Dark Samplers. Snow Queen by Mirabilia. Halloween Sampler by Teresa Kogut. Winter Wonderland by Dorothy Kanzi, which is on the Silk app. Historique Strict Meister. Peacock Unicorn, a Badger, Scarlet House. And a Forest Grew by Rosewood Manor. Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, which is Heaven and Earth Designs, based on artwork by Amy Stewart. Couldn't think. Dragonfly Lace Mandala, which is Chatelaine. Sorry, I've got fuzz in my mouth. 272 Words by Primrose Cottage Needleworks, I think is the name of it. Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. Is it Carriage House Sam? I think that's right. I think I'm saying I always confuse Cottage Garden Samplings and Carriage House Samplings, but I'm pretty sure the Hawk Runs are Carriage House Samplings. Clouds Over Virlande by Ink Circles. Sleeping Princess by Mirabilia. Tree of Magic by Barbara Anna. Fairy Wren Ventures, which is Heaven and Earth Designs. It's a no background piece based on artwork by, I don't remember who, I'm sorry. It's a name I can't pronounce. And then Winter Cabin, which is a Dimensions kit. And of those, I think Winter Wonderland, Tree of Magic, and I'm not sure which, there's one more of those, I think, was a large instead of a BAP. I'm looking at my list real quick to see which one I pulled, but I'm not catching it real quick. Anyway, so those are my Whip Go projects that will all get 10 hours this each, 2 a month, 3 in the month that the free space is called, because I did fill the free space. My January calls, the January calls were number 9 and 22. So for me, that is going to be Let Love Rain and Sleeping Princess. So those will get some work this month. In addition to Whip Go, I'm sorry, excuse me. I've been talking a lot. I wanted to pick a piece to break into 12 to do a chunk a month so that it would be finished by the end of the month. And I considered a couple of pieces, like I really want to finish Haunted Library, but it's newer compared to some of my older pieces. So what I finally settled on was One Nation by Bygone Stitches, which is also a BAP. And one of the ones that's not on my Whip Go board because I'm going to finish it in 2024. So what I did is I printed out this is not a great picture, but I printed out kind of a picture of it. And the black is what I have already done. And then I divided 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I may do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It just depends on, once I get it in the Q-Snap, how much I'm going to have to move it. But that is the goal, is to finish a chunk of that a month so that I finish that One Nation by the end of the year. So that is one big goal for the year. The other BAP that is not on my Whip Go that I'm going to work on consistently this year is Kingdom of Books. I wanted to pick one of my full coverages and plan to do 24,000 stitches for 2024, which is about 2,000 stitches a month, which I've kind of been aiming for on full coverages in 2023. I've just been rotating through them. Treasure Hunt Bookshelf is my oldest full coverage. Kingdom of Books is my second oldest full coverage. You know, I really probably should have put done it on Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, except Treasure Hunt Bookshelf is like 250,000 stitches. So while 24,000 stitches, it would get me 10% or so. It's still a long way from done. Whereas Kingdom of Books doing 24, I think I have like 50,000 stitches left on that. So doing 24,000 on it will get over half of the project done when you add to it what I've already done, I think, or close to halfway. So I decided to do Kingdom of Books, and because I wanted some more visual progress. So that is the project that I'm going to be working on every month this year, and aiming for at least 2,000 stitches a month. I want to hit at least 24,000 stitches for the year. If I hit that 24,000 before the end of the year, I probably will switch to a different full coverage to try to get a little bit more work on it. I don't know. It just depends on what point if for some reason I hit that 24,000 stitches in June, not likely to happen. But if it happened, excuse me, I might just keep chugging along and try to finish the thing. But that's probably not going to happen. Not with everything else I'm getting ready to go through. So I am going to, I've got my monthly Quakers. I should have finished July Quaker in December. I have not finished it yet. I am going to try to get that finished hopefully this week. And then I need to do August Quaker this month. So I have 5, after I finish July Quaker, I have 5 more of those to do. And I want to try to stay on track of finishing one of those a month. So that would get me through May. As of right now, I do not have plans to replace that with something else the rest of the year, in part because by the time we get to May, my work's going to be picking up, and having one thing off my list of goals for the month might work out. I might, on the other hand, replace that with finishing the Gnome monthly series that I had started and I kind of stopped working on last year, and finishing it for one set of grandkids. I don't know. We'll see. I will be starting Sunday a project called Stitch a Day by Morning Glory Needleworks that my friend Peggy gave me, that I think she's also starting. And I will be doing that about every Sunday. I'm not doing a temperature chart this year. I'm going to do this Stitch a Day in its place. But it's like a, I don't know, 70 or 80 by 80 little, or maybe not even that big little block. I'm putting a picture in as I'm talking about all these. Hopefully I'm putting pictures in. But it's like a little block a day with that you cross stitch the block and then do a specialty stitch in the middle. So I think it'll be really fun to like do a bunch of different little specialty stitches I haven't done. But it's such a little bit of stitching each day. I think I would get annoyed at just pulling out to do that little bit. So I'm going to do it like I did my temperature chart and work on it each Sunday to try to do the week before that Sunday's pieces. And then I'm also going to be trying to kind of do Mill Hill Monday. I want to do more of my little Mill Hill kits. But my Mill Hill Monday will not be that I work exclusively on Mill Hills on Monday. It just will be that if I stitch on Monday, and I say if I stitch on Monday because when work is busy, Mondays is one of the days that I tend to have to work late and might not have to stitch, which is also a good reason for this to be on Monday, because my goal is to do just at least 100 stitches on whatever Mill Hill I'm currently working on Mondays. If I want to do more, that's great, but I want to try to, if I'm not feeling it, I can just do 100 stitches and move on to something else. And then 2024 is a leap year, so we have a February 29th. I am going to jump on the Long Dog Leap Day SAL bandwagon. I don't even know if anybody else is doing it. I know it was from 4 years ago, but I didn't know about it then because I wasn't really stitching then, so I'm doing it now. I have been wanting to start Anzac by Long Dog Samplers. I have always been fascinated with Australia. It's my dream trip to go to Australia and to New Zealand. One of these days I will get there. I have ordered floss from Silks For You. It's not here yet. I'm I shouldn't be a problem in the next 6 weeks or so for it to get here before then. And once it does, I will pick out the fabric then. But I've ordered kind of It's like a green, blue, brown, kind of earthy looking to me. And I also ordered just a solid green too. I haven't decided if I'm going to highlight a certain area by doing a more solid or whatever. I think I'm going to do most of it in the tonal. There just might be occasional elements I want to do in the solid green. I don't know. We'll see once it gets here. Online, it looks like they go together. It may not once I actually see it in person. So I will be working on that, starting that February 29th and working on that, aiming to work on that at least the 29th of each month. And that is not a huge long dog. I mean, no long dog is small, but it's not, compared to some of the other ones, it's not that huge. And by my calculation, I need to average about 600 stitches a month to finish that by leap day of 2028. So that will be the goal on that. And then I have joined the Halloween cross stitch group on Facebook. I am doing a yearly challenge with them on Halloweenish projects. That is a quarterly, so you pick a project per quarter, and the requirement for the game is 400 stitches per month on that project for the 3 months you work on it. My personal goal is I'm going to try to get at least 1,000 stitches a month on it, which would give me 3,000 stitches on each project. I have picked my 4 projects. They are somewhat subject to change, but the first 2 I picked are not necessarily older projects, but projects that I'm less likely to pull out that I want to get work on. The first one for this quarter is Moons Out, Brooms Out, which I started in December of 2022. And if you've watched my Rip Parade, you know I did not touch it all in 2023. So I definitely want to get some work on that. The second one is Sugar Skull Cat, which is a pattern from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween 2023 issue that I like, but for some reason I just don't gravitate towards it. Third quarter is Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio, which is a pattern I just really want to get finished. I don't know that I'm not saying I'll finish it in that quarter. I might not. But I just want to get some good work on it. And then fourth quarter is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. That one seems to go really fast every time I work on it. So while 3,000-ish stitches would not finish that, it might be that I can get that one finished. We'll see. And then if you've watched my Whip Parade, you saw how many projects I started in 2023. So I am establishing some guidelines. They're not rules, because rules lead to rebellion for me. Some guidelines for my new starts in 2024. I really do. I love all the projects that I have currently started. So I really want to work on them, and I want to work on my whips. But I know that things are going to come up that I'm going to want to start, and if I say I'm not starting anything, I'm going to be right back into next year where I am now, where I've started everything. So, in general, I have 18 planned starts for the year, which I currently have 86, so that would put me just over 100. 100 is kind of my, right now in my brain, that's kind of the number that I'm okay with, but I really don't want to go much over that. So we'll see. Basically my plan is 1 a month, except that January gets 2 because I had the New Year, New Start, and I'm starting the stitch a day on Sunday. February gets 2 because I'll get 1 for the month, and then I'm starting the Anzac on the 29th for Leap Day. May gets 4 because May is May Mayhem. And so my tradition is that I start a project on every weekend in the month of May. I figured that also will give me an opportunity if a bunch of really great stuff comes out in March at Market. It will give me a month or so to get patterns in, to decide what I really, really want to start, and that'll give me a little glut of starts to get some of those started. Because I really, honestly, with everything I started at the end of the year, with the exception of a couple patterns that are still kind of percolating, and yeah, I really want to start that soon. For the most part, I really pushed, and I started a lot of stuff just to get it on the needles. And then the only other month that gets more than one start planned is October, because that's my birthday month. So in addition to the monthly start, I'll get a birthday start. Excuse me, my mouth is getting dry. Now, that being said, the monthly Quakers and Mill Hill kits do not count as new starts because I'm working those through regularly. Otherwise, I cannot start anything in addition to those 18 until I finish 2 projects. So 2 finishes equals 1 start. And also, the monthly Quakers and the Mill Hills do not count as a finish for that purpose. Given the size of the majority of my projects, that means that there probably will not be many more starts than those 18. Because it's just not... there's probably not going to be a ton of finishes that aren't the monthly Quakers and the Mill Hills this year. I mean, there's the One Nation, but that's probably not going to happen till the end of the year. So, and there may be a couple. I mean, there are some projects that are closer to a finish that I do want to try to get to, or that are smaller. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm getting to where I can't talk, but I'm almost done. I realized, and I mentioned this at the end of my WIP parade, I have a lot of large and BAP projects. Probably 80% of my projects are larges and BAPs. So I also do want to be a little more conscious going forward of, I'm not going to start things just because they're a small or a medium if it's not something I want to stitch. But when looking at things that I'm starting, at least for the next year, I want to try to gravitate a little bit more towards having a more variety of sizes. The problem is I'm drawn to the large projects and the BAP projects. And that's fine. I just also know myself, and I'm going to have new starts. So, excuse me. Overall, I would like to touch all of my current WIPs this year. I am sticking to any new start has to have, I have to do at least 500 stitches on any new start to call it, before I move on from it. There were a couple projects this past year that I didn't quite make that, but I was okay with the reasons I didn't at the time. And I would like to have a wheel with all of my projects on it, because obviously what I've done with WIP Go and this, I think covers maybe like 30 projects and I have 86. But I would like to touch all of them next year, and so I will use the wheel to pull up other ones as I have time, or just burn out on a goal and want to do something else for 500 stitches. I have a couple of projects that are closer to a finish that I like. Good Company by Plum Street, I could probably finish. I'm hoping to finish that this month because it's close. There are a couple of other, the other project that I did not touch at all in 2023 is The Mandalorian from Forbidden Fiber Co. I really want to work on that some this year, and that's actually small enough that I might even could finish that if I just get in a groove working on it. October's Party's the same way. So we'll see how the rest of it goes. But I'm really trying to focus this year on just making some progress on some of the WIPs. I thought about the 24 finishes in 24 because I finished 22 and 23 without really making a huge effort. But again, I have so many large and BAP projects that I just don't think that's realistic. I mean, if you counted up the few monthly Quakers that I have left, that's 5. Unless I do 19 Mill Hill kits, I don't know that I'm going to hit 24 finishes. So, which is fine. We just want to make progress. So, anyway, so those are my plans for 2024. Hopefully, my other plan is to hopefully record on a regular basis, aiming for every 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm not going to set a strict schedule because I just know I won't keep it. But I'm hoping for every 2 to 3 weeks. And I guess the last thing to say, and I should have said this at the beginning, is if you're returning, I appreciate you coming back. If you're new, I really appreciate you checking me out. I have gotten a small little steady trickle of subscribers lately, so I don't know if there's been a shout out somewhere that I haven't heard about, or what, but if you're, however you found me, I appreciate you checking me out, and hopefully you will like my content. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below. There's a link tree below that has an email address if you'd prefer to email me a question. There's also a link below to my cross-stitch spreadsheet, which shows all of my WIPs and designer and fabric, and some basic notes at least on whether or not I'm changing any floss or anything like that. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to go so I can maybe get this one edited tonight, and maybe it'll show up right after the WIP parade. We'll see. I hope y'all are enjoying 2024 so far, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye, y'all.